Hi everyone, my name is Sangram Kakade from Aryan College of Arts, Commerce and Science. Today in this video lecture, we are going to see our very first chapter of C programming subject, and that is Introduction to C language. Code for the subject is 103 and have 3 credits for the semester. So in this chapter, which is Introduction to C language, we are going to see brief history of C programming language. Later we are going to see basic structure which we need to follow while writing the C program. Next, we will see few language fundamentals. In that we will see character sets, tokens, keywords, identifiers, variables, and data types. Next, we will see the operators which are provided by the C programming language. In this, we will see the types of operators and the rules which are associated with the precedence and associativity for those operators. And later, last but not the least, we'll see how to create an operation with the help of this operands and operators. So let's to begin with, we'll start with the brief history of programming language. C is procedural programming language as well as general purpose programming language that was developed by Dennis Ritchie at AT&T's Bell Laboratory in 1972. It is amazing and simple language that helps you to develop complex software applications with ease. It is considered as the mother of all languages. C is high-level programming language that provides support to a low-level programming language as well. C consists of series of concepts ranging from variable, functions, operators, scope, and much more. We would be exploring all of these topics in detail in the video and the coming video lectures. It can be defined, the C programming language can be defined in the following ways. It can be defined as mother of all programming language. C is considered as mother of programming language of all the modern programming languages because most of the compiler, virtual machine, kernel, etc. are written in C language, and most of the programming language follows C syntax. For example, C++, Java, C#, all these languages follow the syntax of C programming language. It provides the core concepts like the array, strings, functions, file handling, etc. that are being used in many other programming languages like C++, Java, C#, etc. C can be defined as system programming language. The system programming languages are the languages which creates a code which are very close to the hardware. A system programming language is used to create a system software. C language is a system programming language because it can be used to do low-level programming. It is generally used to create hardware devices, operating systems, drivers, kernel, etc. For example, Linux kernel is written in C language, but note that it cannot be used for internet programming like Java, .NET, PHP, etc. This is the one feature in which the C programming lacks. It can create a high-end application, or it can be used to create a low-level programming which are very close to the hardware, but it cannot be used for the internet programming. C can be treated as a procedural language. A procedure is known as function, method, routine, subroutine, etc. A procedural language specifies a series of steps for the program to solve the problem. A procedural language breaks the program into functions, data structure, etc. and exactly the same thing we do using the C language. C is procedural language. In C, variables and function prototype must be declared before being used. Next, C can be defined as a structured programming language. Now, a structured programming language is a subset of the procedural language. Structure means break a program into parts or blocks so that it may be easy to understand. In C language, we break the program into parts using functions. It makes the program easier to understand or to modify. C can be defined as middle level programming language. When I say it is middle level programming language, that means it is a cocktail of low level programming language as well as high level programming language. So there are some features which are present in C programming language which are fetched from the low level programming language, and there are some features which are fetched from high level programming language. C is considered as middle level language because it supports the feature of both low level and high level languages. C language program is converted into an assembly language like any other low level programming language. It also supports pointer arithmetic like any other low level programming language. But at the same time, it is a machine independent, which is again a feature of an high level programming language. So that's why it is called as middle level programming language. Now let's continue with the history of C programming language. C programming language was developed in 1972 by Dennis Ritchie at Bell Laboratories at AT&T, that is American Telephone and Telegraph Company, located in USA. Now that is the thing that we have seen. After the introduction of the C language, previously developed programming language like Algol, COBOL, C soon lost its significance and drastically shook their well-established niche in the domain of programming. C, as I said, was developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972. Ritchie actually aimed at improving B language as it was considered slow and lacked features such as byte address. The development of C language was followed by the origin of Unix, the first operating system implemented in high-level language. In 1978, Ritchie and Kernighan published the first edition of the book, The C Programming Language, referred to as K&R C version of the C language. The second and improved version of the book was published by ANSI, that is American National Standard Institute, C standard, in 1989. C grew into new and improved version over the year. The last version of C is C18, and which is extended version of C11. Let's see the programming language usage. That is current C language, which is C8. As I have said, Algol were developed in 1960 by the International Group. BPCL was invented in 1967 and it was developed by Martin Richard. C language was developed in 1970 by Ken Thompson. Traditional C was developed by Dennis Ritchie 1972. Later, Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie combinedly developed the C programming language, which is known as K&R-C in 1978. He also published the book on it. Later, improvising the C programming language, ANSI committee developed ANSI C in 1989. Again in 1990, ISO committee done some improvisation, removes the flaw in ANSI C and developed ANSI slash ISO, that is International Standard Organization. In 1999, C99 were invented by the Standardization Committee. Let's see the feature of C programming language. So the first feature of C programming language that it is simple. C is simple language in the sense that it provides a structured approach. As we have seen, it can be treated as a structured language, right? So it provides a structured approach. It breaks the problem into parts. It also provides a rich set of library functions, data type, etc. When all these are at your repository, it is very simple to create any kind of code. That's why the first feature of the C programming language is it is simple. Second feature of programming language is why it is machine independent or it is portable. Unlike assembly language, C program can be executed, pardon me, unlike assembly language, C program can be executed on different machines with some machine specific changes. Therefore, C is machine independent language. Now it is portable, though you have to have little bit changes or little bit modification to be done in the code. Or it might happen that on each machine you need to compile the code independently. Next feature is it is mid-level programming language. Although C is intended to do low-level programming, it is used to develop system applications such as kernel, driver, etc. It also supports the feature of high-level languages that we have discussed previously. That's why it is known as middle-level language. We also have seen that it is a structured programming language. It is structured programming language in the sense that we can break the program into parts using functions. So it is easy to understand and modify. Functions also provide code reusability. Next feature of the C is rich in library. C provides lot of inbuilt functions that makes the development of any program fast. So that is one of the feature of the C language. Next feature is about its memory management. It supports the feature of dynamic memory allocation. In C language, we can free the allotted memory at any time by calling free function. So memory management is pretty good in the C language. You can dynamically assign the memory. You can free the memory at any time you need. Next feature of C language is its speed. The compilation and execution time of C language is fast since there are lesser inbuilt functions and hence lesser overheads. So it is very much easy to compile and it executes fast. Next feature of C language is pointers. C provides the features of pointers. We can directly interact with the memory with the help of using pointers. We can use pointers for memory, structure, functions, array, etc. Next feature of C language is recursion. In C, we can call the function within the function. It provides code reusability for every function. Recursion enables us to use the approach of backtracking. So whenever we call function within a function, it provides a link and it provides the backtracking capability as well. Last but not the least, it is extensible. C language is extensible because it can be easily adapted. It can easily adopt new feature. It also can use the code of other programming languages. That was the feature of the C programming language. Now we'll see the basic structure of C programming language. Now whenever you are writing a program in C, you need to follow a basic structure. So at max, it can be divided into 7 parts. First part is a document section. Second part is preprocessor or link section. Third part is definition section. Fourth is global declaration section. Fifth, function declaration section. Sixth, main function. And last, seventh is user defined function section. Now let's see these sections one by one. In documentation section is a section in which you can give comment, make the program more interactive. Compiler won't compile this, and hence this portion would not be displayed on the output screen. Basically, in document section, you will put a description of the program. You can put what the program is doing. You can put the timestamp into the document section, and you can put the author which have written the program. So it is pretty much important to mention this section because it explains the program in much easy manner. Next section is preprocessor link section or preprocessor directive section. This section involves the use of header files that are included necessarily program. Now we'll see in the chapter coming slides what the preprocessor links are. Next point is definition section. This section involves the variable definition and declarations in C. Fourth section is global declaration section. This section is used to define the global variable to be used in the program. That means you can use these variables throughout the program. Next is function declaration section. This section gives the information about the function that includes in the program, the data type or the return type and the parameters passed in the function. Next section is main section. It is the major section from where the execution of the program begins. The main section involves the declaration and executable section. Last section, that is seventh section, is user defined function section. When you want to define your function that fulfills a particular requirement, you can define them in this section. Now let's move towards the conclusion. In this video lecture, we have seen a brief history of C programming language, features of C programming language, and basic structure of C programming language. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.